Recording.
Okay, thank you. So welcome this evening to the ordinance required community meeting for NPA 2021-029.01 SH. If you haven't done so already, please go to the chat box that you see on your screen. Write your name and organization. If you're associated with one, we will use our sign-in sheet. We ask that you please mute your microphone if you are joining by phone, and also turn off your video if you're not participating in the meeting. But if you're participating online, it also helps to save our bandwidth. So how to participate today, the speech bubble in the menu bar at the top of the screen will open the chat box where you can type in question time. After the presentations, click on the raise hand icon to be called on to speak, and you can see it circled with the box. I am the Plan Amendment Case Manager for the Housing and Planning Department, and next is Mark Walters.
I'm Mark Walters, Principal Planner with the Housing and Planning Department, and I'll be moderating this evening's questions.
Then we can go on to the applicants if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Connor Kinney. I'm with Capital A Housing, which is the applicant, and then Civilitude Engineers and Planners, which is also the agent. We're related entities. We're sister companies.
Hi, I'm Ashling O'Reilly. I'm an urban planner with Civilitude and Capital A.
Hello, this is Iyad. I'm with Capital A and Civilitude Engineering as well.
Great, thank you. Citizens who have called in or logged in this evening.
This is Andy Cardenas. I'm a citizen in St. John's.
Okay. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I've lived in St. John's for 5 years.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start the presentation. So again, my name is Maureen Meredith. I am the Plan Amendment Case Manager. Heather Chafin is a zoning case manager. She's not participating in the meeting tonight, but here's her contact information, and this will also be provided at the end of the presentation as well. We'll go over case information on the plan amendment and zoning application. We'll go over the guidelines for group discussion, how to participate in the process. Is there a plan amendment application? And we'll open the floor to questions and answers. Let's see. So the property address, 1 East Johns Avenue. It's a 0.29 acre tract. Here's the case number again, NPA 2021-0029.01. SH stands for Smart Housing. The project name is 1021 East St. John. The FLUM request is to change family to urban single family. The associated zoning case number C14 2021-0005.SH. The request is to change the zoning from single family 3 plan to SF4A neighborhood plan for a small lot development. Here we have the property owner, Talia at East St. John LLC. Agent is Connor Kinney from Civilitude and is Capital A Housing. Guidelines for group discussion. Due to the need for social distancing, in-person questions and comments have been moved to this online format. We will allow Everyone will get a chance to speak. We ask that you listen respectfully and actively to criticize ideas and not individuals. Commit to learning, not debating. Avoid blame, speculation, inflammatory language. Avoid assumptions about others, especially based on their perceived social group. And staff reserves the right to delete offensive language and remove offenders from the meeting. We have these guidelines, but we have not had any problems at our meetings thus far. So guidelines for this group discussion. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat at any time during this meeting. After the staff and applicant presentations, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand by clicking on the hand symbol on the telephone. Will be muted upon arrival and through the staff and applicant presentations. Then staff will open the floor to questions in the chat or by attendees hands to speak. Similar questions may be grouped together and answered together. Please mute your microphone for this. You're having connection issues, please turn off until called upon or to ask a question. How to participate in this overall process. If you have questions after this meeting, you can email me and or Heather Chafin. They will be answered and made available within 5 business days on the website. If you are participating through this meeting through the website link that was in the notice, that's where the questions will be. You can email or call the case managers with any questions or comments that you have. Any written comments will be added to staff case report that go before Planning Commission and City Council. You will get a notice in the mail of the date and time of the PC and City Council hearings. If you live within 500 feet, the notice will have instructions on how to participate in the virtual public hearing meetings. So why is there a neighborhood plan? Neighborhood plans are adopted by City Council. Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan. City Charter requires zoning changes to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Most neighborhood plans are amendments to the plan's future land use map, and most neighborhood plan amendment applications have an associated zoning application. So this map shows the City Council approved neighborhood plans. The areas in blue have the plans that have been approved by City Council, and most of which have future land use maps. The area in blue is, I believe, as the area in brown does not have City Council approved neighborhood plans, and the area in yellow has a suspended neighborhood planning process. So this is the future land use map for the St. John Coronado Hills combined neighborhood planning area. Colors represent broad land uses. For example, yellow represents single family, pink office, brown mixed use. And there are zones that correspond with these broad land use categories. So with this application, the is SF3. The future land use map shows yellow. With the proposed zoning of SF4A, urban single family, if this were to be approved by City Council, that property land use would change from yellow to yellow black dots. This map just shows the property, an aerial photo of the property. You can see where it's located. Avenue. I have this Google map just to show the surrounding uses in a broader area of the property. You can see I-35 to the northwest, and then to the right, bottom right, you can see leads toward Cameron Road. This is just Google Maps that show the property. And then we have sort of a view of the property as you're looking west on East St. John's Avenue, and then a view of the property looking east. Again, this is the future land use map that shows the property showing yellow, which is single family land use. Here's a zoning map that shows the property and the surrounding. Shows the property in relation to the Imagine Austin Growth Concept Map. You can see the activity center. To the left is the Highland Mall Station. Right is Cameron Road, which is the activity corridor. And next we will go into Connor Kinney's presentation. I will stop sharing my screen.
All right, are y'all seeing this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just a brief word of introduction. My name is Connor Kinney. I'm a planner and director of public affairs for Civilitude Group. We have both our Civilitude engineering and planning company, as well as a new company that we started called Capital A Housing. Capital A does planning and development for only for projects that have a substantial affordability component. And that is really why we're here, is that we are proposing to develop a small infill affordable housing development in this on this lot. So it fits in exactly with our mission. This is a weird rezoning. You do not see stuff like this very often. I'm going to close this door so my kids aren't so loud. All right. So this is from, they're both single family residences, SF3 to SF4A. It's actually a little bit of a down zone. SF3, you can have 2 units per lot if it's in a duplex configuration, or if in a home plus ADU configuration. SF4A, you can only build 1, and which might raise the question of why are we doing this? And the answer is that we are going to use Affordability Unlocked, which is a tool that's available for any residential lot in town as a bonus for developments that are at least half of the units are affordable. And the reasons we're specifically seeking SF4A, if you take a look at this comparison, there is a slightly smaller front yard setback. There's a slightly smaller side street yard, which is if you have a street on the side of your lot, what that setback is. SF4A, it's really meant as a townhouse lot, so it doesn't have an interior side yard like between 2 lots, nor does it have a rear yard setback. However, we're not taking advantage of that. And the real difference is in the impervious cover. Under SF3, you can only have 45% impervious cover. You can't really do townhouses on 45%. So SF4A would allow us to get to 65%. And let me rephrase that. You could do townhouses. You can't really do townhouses and parking. And when we reached out to the neighborhood earlier, we heard that parking was a concern. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had a drive going up the rear and had a parking spot for every single unit. But if we're going to use up a big part of our property with the drive that goes back to access all of our units, we're going to need that additional interior impervious cover. However, we're not going to use all of these setbacks reductions. We'd be happy to put a conditional overlay on this rezoning that has a rear setback of even more than SF3, like 15 feet, because that's where our drive is going to go. And we're also going to have a setback from the adjacent property, so we could probably look at something like 5 feet there, just like SF3. So really, the big difference here, there's no change in height. It's a change in impervious cover. It's not exactly a conditional overlay, but just so that folks are aware, our plans are for every unit to have a front porch, because we think that it's really important for the units to engage the community. That's our background. We're a community-oriented affordable housing company, as well as planting some new trees in the front yards to shade the sidewalk on St. John's Avenue. I'd wanted to do street trees, but unfortunately the city rules aren't real conducive to doing street trees. That makes them really expensive. So our plan right now is to put some in the yard pretty close to the sidewalk to provide some shade there and really create a nice kind of streetscape for the development. So under Affordability Unlocked, now this is not part of the zoning, right? Affordability Unlocked is available on any residential lot in town. Under SF3 or SF4A, you can build 6 to 8 dwelling units. And then without Affordability Unlocked, again, 2 under SF3, but just 1 under SF4A. And this gets to the heart of why we were proposing this. It's a bit of an experiment. If we did not do affordability unlocked on this property, we would really be shooting ourselves in the foot. We'd be reducing the number of units we could build from 2 to 1. So this rezoning, while we are doing it to get the additional impervious cover, it's really coming with a guarantee that we have to do affordability unlocked on this site in order to really get its potential. It's kind of an experiment. Nobody's done this before. The problem with affordability unlocked is that under almost nobody, if anybody, is doing SF3 affordability unlocked because there's so little impervious cover. It's hard to do small apartments or townhouses or things like that are conducive to affordable housing. But you don't get additional impervious covers. So everybody has to get a rezone. But then the problem with getting a rezone is that state law forbids you from attaching affordable housing requirements to that rezone. So we've tried to figure out a way around this because we do want to give the community, give city council a guarantee that we are going to do affordability unlocked here. And that's why we're experimenting with this SF4A. We could ask for additional impervious cover under a zoning like SF5 or SF6 or even multifamily zoning, but we really want to provide that assurance that we're doing affordability. And I wanted to show you this. So we have already submitted applications to the city for some help to lower the affordability level of all of our units down to 70% of the Austin median family income. It's about $65,000 for a family of 4. And the reason that we did that is if you look at the pink lines here, which are the St. John's income, the St. John's income distribution is substantially lower than the city as a whole. 80% of Austin's MFI, it's for a family of 4, it's up around $80,000. That's at the upper income level in St. John's. And we really wanted this housing to be an opportunity, particularly for people who are maybe rent stressed in the neighborhood or would like to get out of a rental home and start building some equity and find a more stable place for their family in the neighborhood. We wanted to provide those people an opportunity for this housing. So that's why we're actually only required to go to 80% MFI. We're trying to push that lower to really serve more of kind of the middle of the St. John's market. We couldn't really get it below there without really kind of exploding costs and the need for subsidy beyond an area that was really feasible. But we did try to get it as low as we can, and so a family of 4, $65,000 a year, they will be paying no more than about 1/3 of their income on the combined mortgage payment, insurance, interest, and taxes. So we're pretty proud of being able to achieve that. And then finally, we wanted to just point out that even though we are providing a parking spot and a driveway for every unit on there, you'll have a drive coming off of Providence Avenue here. It is on a very good bus line, and you do have that transit access. And our experience in other affordable units and neighborhoods like this is you have maybe an average of a little over 1 car per unit. Some units have just 1 car, some units have 2. So, this will probably put an additional 1 to 2 cars, maybe 3 cars on the street for parking. But probably you will not see more than that. And what we've seen and driving around and looking at pictures and satellite views and stuff is we've never seen Providence Avenue really highly parked. So we think that the parking needs that might come along with this are going to be adequately served by the parking that we're planning. So that is the extent of our presentation. I will stop my share, and we are happy to take questions.
So anybody out there who would like to ask a question, here's your opportunity. You can either ask it directly or type in the chat, but seeing is that there's just a couple people who aren't actually involved with the project or city staff, here's just open up a dialogue and ask one of your questions that you would like to ask.
Hey, Connor, this is Andy Cardenas. I mentioned earlier that I'm a resident of St. John's. So you just described parking in that whole situation. What do you mean by adequately parked? What does that mean?
Right. Well, so I mean, we want to build homes that people enjoy, and we want to build homes that people in the community are fine with. So when we look at the amount of parking that we're going to add to a development, we do two things. One is that we look at similar developments with similar kind of bedroom counts and MFI levels, and we see about how much parking those folks use. And then we look at the on-street parking, which is, available public parking, and we see how, are the streets, do they have a lot of parking right now? Are there spots available? What we see on Providence there is typically, it's less than 50% of the street the street parking spaces are utilized. So, we're providing a garage parking for every unit. We think that probably there will be a few additional cars on average that are not able to be served by that one car garage for each lot or for each unit there. So that's why I say, there might be a few additional cars on the street, but our view of the street is that there's more than enough capacity to make up for that without, forcing anybody to walk maybe more than an additional 30 feet from their car to their house.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. I'm not sure when the last time you were out there was, but the unit that is on Providence, right next to that vacant lot, was just sold and I think remodeled, and somebody purchased it. And ever since that happened, probably late 2020, I guess. Like, I live on Providence, and getting to that stop sign is actually pretty dangerous because there are trucks and cars that are parked basically all the way to the stop sign, obviously on the right side of the road. And then on the left side of the road, there are cars that are parked even in front of that vacant lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure like when the last time you were out there to assess the situation was, but that's been the status as of late.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's the deal with on-street public parking, right? Is it's public parking, and sometimes people go overboard. What the city has found and what we have found is that your larger single-family homes typically come with a lot more cars. And certainly, while I have seen some cars right in front of that house, as you get more towards Booker, it's usually pretty sparse. We're not required to provide any parking here, but again, we want to be a good neighbor and we want to provide homes that people like. So if we added more parking than one spot per home, we were going to have to reduce the number of units, the number of affordable units that were available. And that just wasn't something that we thought was a goal for us for this project. So I hear your concerns. It's not great. The folks aren't supposed to park in the city within 15 feet of a stop sign or an intersection. I wish I had a better answer for you. But unfortunately, I just don't. It's just kind of living in the city,
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Akeem McLennan. I live on Blessing. So you had made a presentation last time and or at another neighborhood meeting, and at the time you didn't have any sort of renderings or anything of what this development might look like. Do you have any updates there, or?
Right. So I just got some sample floor plans today. The next step from our architect. So we are working on that. We don't have renderings. I mean, this isn't a real expensive project. Frankly, it's a little infill project. So we don't have the fancy kind of 3D stuff that some other developments have. What we can tell you is that what we are planning on doing at this point are all 3-bedroom townhouses. And that they'll all be 3 stories, but under the 35 feet that's allowed for any home in Austin. So because we are fitting that 1-car garage in, unfortunately, there's just room for kind of 1 bedroom on the first floor because we also wanted to put space for a front porch in on every unit. So that is probably, kind of an office spare room. Then on the second floor, there's a big open space, and that's where your combined living, dining, and kitchen are. And then up on the 3rd floor is where you have 2 additional bedrooms. So, these are intended to be kind of family units, and based on the buyers that we see for this kind of home in this part of town, it's typically all families. Typically with 1 to 2 kids.
Okay.
So are there any?
I mean, I just want to acknowledge that this is a weird little rezoning, and this is not a usual development for this part of town. It's a little bit of an experiment, and we are, I've driven my architect a little bit crazy with my demands for trees and front porches and parking, but we really wanted to take care to make a good impression here in St. John's. We have plans to do a lot of work here. We're putting in a proposal for the Home Depot site up the street, and it could be that this thing goes in and nobody likes it, and if so, it's one lot in the whole neighborhood, and we can cross that bridge when we come to it. We think it's going to be good. We think this is the kind of urban infill that with the strong affordability component that really adds to a neighborhood. Being on a transit line, being just down the road from the St. John's Home Depot site, it's going to be beautiful when it's done. We just think it's the right place to put some more affordable units, and we want to give it a spin and see what it can do.
Okay, are there any other questions for the two folks from the community who are here tonight?
I'm good.
Okay. Maureen, do you want to go over what the next steps in the process are, and we can wrap up early and get to dinner?
Sure. So the next steps will be the planning staff will look at the amendment request, and we'll look at the neighborhood plan, comprehensive plan, and we will come up with a recommendation. Forward that to the zoning planners. They'll come up with a recommendation. We'll work with the St. John Planning Contact Team on getting your recommendation as soon as we can. And once we get all this, we will start scheduling it for Planning Commission and City Council. We don't have any prospective dates, but I suspect probably want to get to Planning Commission as soon as you can, right?
You're muted. It's not a meeting until somebody
You
says
would
you're
think
muted.
about after a year of this, we'd have it down. We are getting close to having some plans done. So we'd like to move soon.
Okay. So Akeem, you're the president of the Planning Contact Team, or the chair, is that correct?
Yeah, I may actually need to change that because right now I'm also president of the neighborhood association, but at the moment I am.
Okay.
Just so you know, Akima, as a former chair of the contact team, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll work with you on when we might expect to get your letter of recommendation, and then we can go from there. Do on the process, anybody?
I've done that before. I'll just get in touch with you via email if I have any questions. I actually have a question for Andy, if he's still on the line. Have you been to any of the neighborhood association meetings before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've met you before. I've been at mostly the ones for Home Depot.
Cool.
Mostly the ones for Home Depot site, and then when they did the one for when TechStock came in and talked about the construction that they're doing.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to get in touch. I can also leave an email address if you were unsure.
Sure. Yeah. This Teams is tied to my Dell account, but I mean, that can be contacted, or that email address can be contacted, or my personal can. So yeah, you want to just shoot me an email message.
I can't actually see that, but
oh, okay. Well, then I will put it in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, if there isn't anything else, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a couple seconds so he can type in his contact information so someone can have a chance to. He was typing. There he is. Let's give it a few seconds. There it is. Akeem, can you see that in the chat?
Yep, thank you.
Good.
You got it? Okay, sorry about that. Didn't mean to cut you off. Can you hear me?
Well,
I'm
Maureen,
not
you're
sure if
kind of
y'all can
cutting
hear
out.
me. Okay, yeah. So if there's not anything else, then I guess we will end the meeting. For those who are participating, we will have this recorded meeting posted to the Speak Up Austin /NPA within the days. And if that's it, then we'll end the meeting.
Everyone have a good evening. Take care.
Thanks, y'all. Good
You
night.
too. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.